It was a slow Thursday afternoon at the diner, the kind of day where the minutes seemed to stretch into hours. The air conditioning hummed softly, battling the warmth of the sun streaming through the windows, and the faint clatter of dishes from the kitchen occasionally broke the stillness. The place wasn't busy, just a few regulars hunched over their coffee mugs, murmuring about the news or quietly flipping through newspapers. Days like this weren't unusual, but they always made me feel the weight of every moment on my shift. I'd been working here for 3 years, long enough to know the rhythm of the place. Long enough, too, to recognize what kind of customer I was dealing with the moment they walked through the door. Some people came in smiling, eager to chat or thank you for your service, while others brought their bad moods in with them, wearing them like armor. So when the bell above the door jingled sharply and she walked in, I could feel it, a shift in the air. She was stunning, no doubt about it. Her outfit screamed money, a tailored designer coat that fit her like it had been made just for her, diamond earrings that sparkled even in the muted diner light, and a handbag so sleek and polished it might as well have been a status symbol. Her heels clicked against the tiled floor with precision, every step deliberate, her gaze sweeping over the room like she was mentally rating it, and not kindly. For a moment I wondered what had brought someone like her into our modest little diner. She looked so out of place here, like a rare bird that had accidentally landed in the wrong habitat. "Good afternoon," I said with my best smile, clutching a menu in my hand. My voice was cheerful but steady. I'd learned not to expect much in return from customers like her. She didn't meet my eyes. Instead, she gave the briefest nod and waved a manicured hand toward the booth by the window. Without a word, she slid into the seat, set her gleaming handbag beside her, and pulled out her phone. Typical. I told myself not to take it personally. Some people just didn't think waitstaff deserved basic politeness. I handed her the menu and waited for a moment, just in case she had a question, but her attention was glued to her screen. It was almost like I wasn't even there. Suppressing a sigh, I stepped back, giving her time to decide. When I returned, she ordered a salad and a sparkling water. Nothing extravagant or difficult, but her tone made it clear she expected speed. "Right away," I said, keeping my voice upbeat, though inside I was already bracing for what I suspected would come later. Customers like her didn't tend to leave much gratitude behind, monetary or otherwise. As the meal went on, her demeanor didn't change. She sat there, scrolling through her phone, her expression unchanging. Occasionally, I stopped by to refill her water or ask if she needed anything else. Each time, she waved me off with a quick motion, barely glancing up. Her disinterest was palpable, and with every interaction, my patience wore thinner. Still, I smiled and kept my tone polite. Years of experience had taught me how to keep my frustration tucked away behind a professional mask. When she finished her meal, I quickly brought the check, placing it neatly on the edge of the table. She glanced at it briefly, then pulled out a sleek leather wallet. Her credit card gleamed as she handed it to me, still without a word. I processed her payment and returned with the receipt, half expecting some small gesture of acknowledgement. But when she signed the receipt and handed it back, the tip line was left glaringly blank. She stood up with a fluid motion, slung her expensive handbag over her shoulder, and walked out with the same confident click of her heels. Not a thank you. Not even a glance. It was like I hadn't existed at all. I let out a long breath, the kind you don't realize you've been holding until the moment passes. Grabbing the receipt, I shook my head. It wasn't the first time someone like her had stiffed me, and I knew it wouldn't be the last. It stung, sure, but in this line of work you learn to roll with it. As I reached for the empty plate to clear the table, I spotted something that made me pause. Tucked neatly beneath the plate was an envelope. It had my name written on the front in elegant looping handwriting. My heart skipped a beat. What was this? Just as I was clearing her table, something caught my eye. At first, I thought it was just a stray napkin left behind, but as I leaned closer, I realized it wasn't. There, tucked neatly under her empty plate, was a crisp, cream-colored envelope. My name was written across the front in elegant looping handwriting, the kind that felt deliberate and practiced. I froze for a moment, my mind racing. I hadn't seen her place it there. How long had it been sitting unnoticed, waiting for me to find it? My heart started to pound in my chest. This kind of thing didn't happen to me. Not here. Not ever. Slowly, I picked it up, feeling the unexpected weight of it in my hand. My fingers fumbled as I slid my thumb under the flap, careful not to tear it. Inside was a stack of cash, crisp bills bound together so neatly it looked like it had come straight from the bank. I counted quickly, my hands trembling. $500. My breath hitched. $500. I stared at the money, then at the envelope, and that's when I noticed the note folded inside. My fingers shook as I unfolded it, my eyes scanning the elegant handwriting. I know I probably came across as rude, and I'm sorry. Sometimes life weighs on you, and you forget to treat people kindly. But I see how hard you're working, and I want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you for your patience. Please accept this as an apology and a token of appreciation. I read it once, then twice. The words swam in my vision, not because I didn't understand them, but because I couldn't believe them. My legs felt weak, so I sank into the booth across from where she had been sitting, clutching the note and the cash like they might disappear if I let go. Shock was the first emotion to hit me, sharp and overwhelming. This woman, the same one who had barely looked up at me, who had waved me off like I was invisible, had done this? Why? She hadn't said a single kind word to me the entire time she was here. I'd pegged her as one of those people who walk through life with her nose in the air, thinking she was better than everyone else. And yet, here was the proof that I'd been so wrong. The shock melted into gratitude, but it didn't stop there. Guilt crept in next, heavy and unavoidable. I thought about how annoyed I'd been as I served her, how I'd silently judged her every move. I'd assumed the worst of her, painted her as just another difficult customer who wouldn't leave a tip. And now, here I was, holding more money than I'd make in a week, and a note that felt like a gift in more ways than one. She didn't have to do this. Most people wouldn't have. But she did. And the weight of that kindness, that unexpected generosity, was almost too much to process. My eyes prickled, and I blinked rapidly, fighting the urge to cry right there in the middle of the diner. I folded the note carefully and slipped it back into the envelope. Holding it close like a secret I wasn't ready to share with anyone yet. The cash felt foreign in my hands, surreal, but the message was what stayed with me. It wasn't just the money. It was the reminder that people are more than what they seem, that there's always more to someone's story than what meets the eye. That envelope didn't just pay for her meal, it shifted something deep within me. It was like a mirror held up to my own assumptions, forcing me to see things differently. I couldn't stop thinking about her as I cleaned up the rest of her table. Who was she, really? Why had she chosen to leave such an incredible gift to someone she barely acknowledged while she was here? It was humbling and unsettling at the same time. It reminded me of something I'd heard once but hadn't really understood until now. People are complicated. We all carry burdens that others can't see. She had walked in with her head held high, her outfit immaculate, exuding confidence, maybe even arrogance. But that note, and the care she took to leave it hidden beneath the plate, told a different story. Maybe she had been having a terrible day. Maybe she was struggling with something far heavier than she let on. Loss, loneliness, pressure. Who could say? Her life might have looked perfect from the outside, but perfection is often a mask, and I had to wonder what hers was hiding. I never saw her again. I'll admit, part of me hoped she'd come back one day so I could thank her, look her in the eye and say what I couldn't that day. You made a difference. But maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe she wasn't looking for gratitude or recognition. Maybe it was enough for her to act in kindness and let it speak for itself. Still, I think about her often. It wasn't just the money that stuck with me, though that was a blessing in itself. It was the lesson she left behind, one I'll carry for the rest of my life. That single moment taught me something profound. Kindness can come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes it's hidden behind layers of indifference, or even rudeness. You just have to have a little patience, a little grace, to look past the surface. Now, when a difficult customer walks through that door, I try to remember her. The ones who snap at me for no reason, who roll their eyes when I ask how their meal is, or who leave their plates in a mess without a word of thanks. I don't let myself assume the worst anymore. I remind myself that I don't know what kind of day they've had, what kind of battles they might be fighting that no one can see. Because you never really know what's hiding under the surface, or what might be waiting, quietly, under an empty plate. Hey there, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story and found it as inspiring as I did. If it touched your heart or made you think, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know what you took away from it. If you want to see more stories like this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow and share more meaningful content with amazing people like you. And hey, if you know someone who'd love this story too, feel free to share it with them. Let's spread some kindness and positivity together. Thanks for being here, it means the world. Until next time, take care and keep shining.